I'm standing in my own living room, watching my wife flirt with another man, and I'm wondering if this is what rock bottom feels like, or if there's still further to fall. "Ethan, honey, could you get Blake another beer?" Samantha calls out, not even bothering to look in my direction. She's leaning against our granite kitchen counter, her red dress riding up just enough to be inappropriate for a neighborhood barbecue. Blake Summers, her boss, is standing close enough that I can smell his expensive cologne from across the room. I'm the invisible husband at my own party, a man so low on the social ladder that I get drink refills before anyone asks. It's a skill I've perfected over the past 3 years of marriage, anticipating Samantha's needs before she humiliates me for not reading her mind. "Sure thing," I reply, forcing that familiar smile that feels like swallowing glass. I grab a Corona from our stainless steel refrigerator, the one Samantha insisted we needed to keep up with the neighbors. Everything in our house is about keeping up appearances. Blake takes the beer without a thank you, his hand brushing against Samantha's as she passes him a lime. It's not accidental. Nothing about Blake Summers is accidental, from his perfectly styled hair to his black Range Rover parked in our driveway like a monument to his success. "Ethan's such a good host," Samantha says with that laugh she reserves for other men, always taking care of everyone else. The way she says it makes it sound like a character flaw, like being considerate is something to be ashamed of. I'm a mechanical engineer, not a mind reader, but I can translate her coded language perfectly. My husband is boring and predictable. Our backyard is packed with neighbors and friends, all clutching drinks and pretending this is just another casual Friday night gathering. Karen Mitchell from next door is holding court by the pool, her voice carrying over the music as she gossips about someone's divorce. Her husband Mike is manning the grill, occasionally catching my eye with sympathetic looks that suggest he knows exactly what kind of marriage I'm trapped in. "Ethan," Lisa Walsh appears beside me, her smile genuine and warm. She's our neighbor from 3 houses down, recently divorced, and apparently the only person at this party who remembers my name. "Great party. How are you holding up?" There's something in the way she asks that makes me think she sees through the performance. Lisa is stunning in an understated way. Natural blonde hair, bright blue eyes, and the kind of confidence that comes from surviving a bad marriage and coming out stronger. "Living the dream," I reply, raising my beer in a mock toast. Just watching my wife's career advancement strategies in action. Lisa follows my gaze to where Samantha is now touching Blake's arm while telling some story that requires a lot of animated gestures. "Subtle as always," she murmurs. "How long has this been going on?" "Which part? The flirting or the complete disrespect for her husband in public?" "Both." I take a long drink before answering. The flirting started about 6 months after Blake became her boss. The public humiliation has been a constant since our wedding day. Lisa's expression darkens. "You deserve better than this, Ethan. You know that, right?" Before I can respond, Samantha's voice cuts through the crowd like a knife. "Ethan, we need more ice. The cooler's empty again." Not a request, a command. Delivered in front of 20 people like I'm hired help instead of the man who pays the mortgage on this house. "I'll get it," Lisa says quickly, but I'm already moving toward the garage. "No, it's fine. I've got it." As I walk away, I hear Samantha laugh at something Blake said. It's the kind of laugh she used to reserve for me, back when she pretended to find my engineering jokes amusing instead of embarrassing. The garage is cool and quiet, a refuge from the performance art that is our social life. I grab 2 bags of ice from the chest freezer, but I don't hurry back. Let them wait. Let Samantha explain to her audience why her husband disappeared. When I return, the party has shifted into a different gear. Someone turned up the music and people are dancing on our patio. Samantha is nowhere to be seen, but Blake is still here, now talking to Terry, Samantha's work friend and fellow gossip enthusiast. "Where's Sam?" I ask Terry, dumping ice into the cooler with more force than necessary. "Bathroom," she replies, barely glancing up from her conversation with Blake. She was just telling us about your anniversary trip to Cabo. Sounds amazing. I pause, ice scoop halfway to the bag. Our anniversary trip? Next month? The resort with the private beach? Terry's expression shifts from casual to confused. The one Blake recommended? I look at Blake, who has suddenly developed a fascination with his phone screen. We haven't planned any anniversary trip. We can barely afford our current lifestyle, let alone a luxury resort in Mexico. But apparently, Blake has recommendations. Right, I say slowly. That trip. The pieces start clicking together like a mechanical puzzle I should have solved months ago. The late work meetings, the new clothes charged to our credit card, the way Samantha lights up when Blake's name appears on her phone, the business trip to Chicago last month that she came back from with a tan. Ethan? Lisa appears beside me again, her hand gently touching my arm. You look like you've seen a ghost. Just processing some new information, I reply, watching Blake excuse himself from the conversation and head toward our house. Probably looking for Samantha. Karen Mitchell materializes next to us, wine glass in hand, and gossip radar fully activated. Did you know Blake's wife kicked him out last week? She says, in what she probably thinks is a whisper. Caught him texting another woman, dirty pictures and everything. The ice scoop slips from my hand and clatters into the cooler. Lisa steadies me with a firm grip on my elbow. Really? I manage to say. That's terrible. Devastating, Karen continues, clearly enjoying her role as neighborhood news anchor. Apparently, she hired a private investigator, got screenshots of everything, hotel receipts, restaurant charges, the whole affair laid out in black and white. Any idea who the other woman was? Lisa asks, her voice carefully neutral. Karen leans closer, her eyes bright with malicious excitement. Someone from his office, married woman. Can you imagine? Destroying two families for what? A few cheap thrills? I can imagine it perfectly. In fact, I don't have to imagine it at all. Samantha emerges from the house, her lipstick freshly applied and her dress suspiciously wrinkled. Blake follows a few seconds later, trying to look casual as he rejoins the party. They don't make eye contact, but there's an energy between them that screams guilt. There's my husband, Samantha announces, sliding up beside me and wrapping her arm around my waist with theatrical affection. Were you gossiping about me while I was gone? Just talking about Blake's divorce, I reply, watching her face for any reaction. Sounds messy. Her grip on my waist tightens almost imperceptibly. Divorce is always messy. That's why smart people work on their marriages instead of giving up at the first sign of trouble. The irony is so thick I could cut it with a knife. Here's my wife lecturing me about marriage while her lover stands 10 feet away, pretending to be interested in Mike's grilling technique. You're absolutely right, I say, loud enough for Blake to hear. Trust is everything in a marriage. Once that's broken, what's left? Blake's shoulders tense, but he doesn't turn around. Exactly, Samantha agrees, apparently missing the subtext entirely. I could never respect a man who didn't fight for his relationship. Lisa makes a small noise that might be a snort of laughter. Samantha notices and her smile becomes razor sharp. Lisa, you're so quiet tonight. How's the dating scene treating you? It's a calculated attack. Samantha knows Lisa's divorce was painful, and she's weaponizing that vulnerability in front of our friends. It's classic Samantha. Deflect attention from her own behavior by attacking someone else's perceived weakness. Actually, it's been quite educational, Lisa replies smoothly. I've learned to spot the warning signs of men who aren't worth my time. Cheaters, liars, men who disrespect their wives in public. It's amazing how obvious it becomes once you know what to look for. The temperature around us drops about 10 degrees. Samantha's smile freezes in place, and Blake finally turns around, his face flushed with either alcohol or embarrassment. Well, Samantha says, her voice tight with barely controlled anger, I suppose some people have lower standards than others. Or higher standards, Lisa counters. Depends on your perspective. I feel like I'm watching a tennis match where both players are using hand grenades instead of balls. The other party guests have started to notice the tension, conversations trailing off as people tune in to the drama unfolding by the ice cooler. Ladies, I interject, trying to diffuse the situation before it explodes completely. Maybe we should what? Samantha snaps, her mask finally slipping. Should pretend everything is perfect? Should smile and nod while people make passive-aggressive comments about my marriage? I wasn't talking about your marriage, Lisa says calmly. But if the shoe fits... That's when Samantha makes her fatal mistake. She's had too much wine, she's angry, and she's feeling cornered. So she does what she always does when backed into a corner, she goes nuclear. You know what? Fine. You want to know the truth about my marriage? She turns to face the entire party, her voice rising with each word. I could dump you right now, Ethan. Right here, in front of everyone. Because that's how little you mean to me. The party goes silent. Even the music seems to fade into the background. 20 pairs of eyes are staring at us, waiting to see what happens next. And that's when Lisa delivers the line that changes everything. Finally, she says, loud enough for everyone to hear. Do it. Put the poor man out of his misery. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. The silence stretches for what feels like an hour, but is probably only 10 seconds. I can hear the pool filter humming, ice settling in the cooler, and the distant sound of traffic on the main road. Everyone at the party is frozen, drinks halfway to their lips, conversations abandoned mid-sentence. Samantha's face cycles through several emotions: shock, rage, embarrassment, and something that might be panic. She clearly expected me to beg, to apologize, to do whatever it takes to smooth things over like I always do. She didn't expect Lisa to call her bluff in front of our entire social circle. Excuse me? Samantha's voice is dangerously quiet. You heard me, Lisa replies, crossing her arms and leaning against the patio table with casual confidence. You just threatened to dump your husband in front of 20 people, so either do it or admit you're just being cruel for attention. Blake starts to move towards Samantha, probably thinking he needs to rescue her, but Mike intercepts him with a firm hand on his shoulder. I wouldn't, Mike says quietly. This is between them. Karen has her phone out, not even pretending she's not recording this. Terry looks like she wants to disappear into the pool. The other neighbors are positioned around our backyard like they're watching a gladiator match. This is none of your business, Samantha hisses at Lisa. You made it everyone's business when you decided to humiliate your husband at his own party, Lisa shoots back. So, what's it going to be? Are you going to follow through on your threat? Or are you going to apologize to Ethan for treating him like garbage? I should probably say something, diffuse the situation, play peacemaker like I always do. But I'm fascinated by this moment, by watching someone finally stand up to Samantha's bullying. And if I'm being honest, there's a part of me that wants to know the answer to Lisa's question. Samantha, I say quietly, my voice carrying in the silence. Lisa asked you a question. My wife's head snaps toward me, her eyes wide with disbelief. I've never challenged her in public before. I've never challenged her in private, for that matter. I'm the accommodating husband, the one who keeps the peace, the one who apologizes for things that aren't my fault. Are you serious right now? She asks. Dead serious. You said you could dump me right now, so either do it, or explain to everyone why you thought it was appropriate to threaten your husband in front of our friends. Blake takes a step forward. Maybe we should all just calm down. Blake, I interrupt, not taking my eyes off Samantha. I don't remember asking for your opinion. There's something liberating about finally saying what I think instead of what's expected. For 3 years, I've been the diplomat in this marriage, always trying to smooth over Samantha's sharp edges and make excuses for her behavior. But standing here, with our friends and neighbors watching, I realize I'm tired of being her emotional punching bag. "You want to know what I think?" Samantha says, her voice rising again. "I think you're pathetic. I think you're boring and predictable, and you have no idea how to make a woman happy." The words hit like physical blows, but they're not surprising. I've heard variations of this speech during every fight we've had for the past 2 years. What's different is the audience. "Wow," Karen breathes, apparently forgetting her phone is still recording. "And I think," Samantha continues, warming to her theme, "that any woman who would want you is obviously desperate and settling for scraps." That's aimed at Lisa, who doesn't even flinch. "Interesting theory," Lisa says, "but I notice you still haven't answered the question. Are you dumping him or not?" "Maybe I am," Samantha shouts. "Maybe I'm done pretending this marriage was anything more than a mistake." "Then say it," I find myself saying. "Say you want a divorce. Say it clearly, so everyone can hear you." For the first time since this confrontation started, Samantha looks uncertain. Threatening to leave is one thing. Actually doing it is something else entirely. She glances at Blake, who looks like he'd rather be anywhere else on Earth. She starts, then stops. "You what?" Lisa presses. "You were so confident a minute ago. What changed?" What changed is that Samantha just realized she might have painted herself into a corner. She can't back down without looking weak, but she can't follow through without consequences she's not prepared for. "This is insane," she says finally. "I'm not going to make major life decisions because some bitter divorced woman is trying to cause drama." "Bitter?" Lisa laughs, and there's nothing bitter about it. "Samantha, I'm the happiest I've been in years. I'm not the one standing in my backyard humiliating my spouse for entertainment. You don't know anything about my marriage. I know what I see, and what I see is a woman who treats her husband like he's an inconvenience instead of a partner." Terry finally finds her voice. "Maybe we should all just take a breath and—" "No," I say firmly. "I want to hear this. Samantha, tell everyone how you really feel about our marriage." She stares at me like I've grown a second head. "Ethan, what are you doing?" "I'm giving you what you want. A chance to publicly explain why you think I'm such a terrible husband. Go ahead, tell them about all my failures." The party guests are watching this unfold like it's a reality TV show. I can see phones recording, people whispering to each other, neighbors who will be talking about this night for months. "You want to know what your failures are?" Samantha's anger is back, fueled by embarrassment and too much wine. "You're boring. You come home from work and watch engineering videos on YouTube. You think dinner at Olive Garden is a romantic date. You drive a 10-year-old Honda and you're proud of it. You have no ambition, no passion, no excitement. Each criticism is like a bullet point from our worst fights, now delivered with an audience of 20 people. But instead of feeling hurt, I find myself analyzing her complaints like an engineering problem. "So I'm boring because I'm financially responsible?" I ask. "You're boring because you're satisfied with mediocrity. And Blake isn't mediocre?" The question hangs in the air like smoke. Samantha's face goes pale, and Blake looks like he wants to run for his car. "What's that supposed to mean?" she asks. "It means everyone here knows about your work husband, Samantha. The late meetings, the business trips, the way you light up when he texts you. Did you really think people wouldn't notice?" Karen gasps audibly. Terry drops her wine glass, which shatters on the patio. Blake starts to say something, but Mike's grip on his shoulder tightens. "You don't know what you're talking about," Samantha says, but her voice lacks conviction. "Blake's wife kicked him out last week," I continue, my voice steady and calm. "Caught him having an affair with a married woman from his office. Hotel receipts, text messages, the whole thing documented by a private investigator. That has nothing to do with me." doesn't it? You just told everyone I'm a terrible husband. You threatened to dump me in front of our friends, and your boss is standing 10 feet away looking like he'd rather be anywhere else. Connect the dots, Samantha. Lisa steps closer to me, her presence solid and supportive. Ethan's right. This has gone way beyond a marital spat. This is public humiliation, and it needs to stop. Stay out of this, Samantha snaps. This is between me and my husband. No, Lisa says firmly. You made it public when you decided to attack him in front of everyone. And since you seem determined to air your dirty laundry, let's make sure we get all of it. She pulls out her phone and scrolls through something, then holds it up so Samantha can see the screen. These are screenshots of text messages, Lisa says. Very intimate text messages between a woman named Sam and someone called B. Want to guess how I got them? Samantha's face drains of all color. You can't. Those are private. Blake's wife sent them to me, Lisa continues. Apparently, she thought the other woman's husband deserved to know what was happening. She was right. The party has gone completely silent again. Even Karen has stopped recording, too shocked to remember she's holding her phone. Blake, I say quietly, I think it's time for you to leave. He nods quickly, clearly grateful for the escape route. Yeah, I should. I'll just. Actually, Lisa interrupts, maybe Blake should stay. After all, if Samantha is really dumping Ethan, she'll need someone to drive her home. Unless she's planning to take the house too? It's a brilliant tactical move. Lisa has just forced Samantha to confront the practical reality of her threat. If she really wants to end our marriage right now, in front of everyone, she needs to follow through completely. Samantha looks around desperately, probably realizing for the first time that she's completely isolated. Terry won't meet her eyes. Blake looks like he wants to disappear. The neighbors are staring at her with a mixture of shock and judgment. You know what? I say, surprising myself with how calm I feel. Don't answer that tonight. Take some time to think about what you really want. I turn to address the party guests, who are still frozen in place like statues. I think that's enough entertainment for one evening, I announce. Thanks for coming, everyone. Drive safely. It's a clear dismissal, and people start moving immediately. Conversations resume in hushed tones as neighbors collect their things and head for the exits. Karen lingers, probably hoping for more drama, but Mike steers her toward the gate. Terry approaches Samantha cautiously. Sam, do you want me to stay? No, Samantha says quietly. Just no. Within 10 minutes, our backyard is empty except for me, Samantha, and Lisa, who is stacking plates with casual efficiency. You don't have to clean up, I tell her. I don't mind. Besides, I think you two need to talk. Samantha is standing by the pool, staring at the water like it might hold answers to questions she doesn't know how to ask. Samantha, I say gently, do you want to tell me about Blake? She turns to look at me, and for the first time in months, I see something vulnerable in her expression. It wasn't supposed to happen like this, she says quietly. But it did happen. Yes, it did. Lisa finishes stacking the plates and heads for the gate. I'll leave you two to sort this out, she says. Ethan, call me if you need anything. After she leaves, Samantha and I stand in our backyard, surrounded by the debris of our marriage and our social life. So what now? She asks. Now, I say, we figure out what's left to save, if anything. I wake up alone in our king-size bed, sunlight streaming through the windows that Samantha insisted we upgrade last year. The house is quiet, too quiet. No sounds from the kitchen, no shower running, no morning routine that's become as predictable as clockwork over the past 3 years. My phone shows 17 missed calls from Samantha and 43 text messages. I don't read them. Instead, I make coffee and sit at our granite breakfast bar, staring out at the backyard where our marriage imploded 12 hours ago. The patio furniture is still scattered from the party. Empty bottles and plastic cups litter the deck. A wine glass lies shattered near the pool where Terry dropped it when I mentioned Blake's affair. It looks like a crime scene, which isn't far from the truth. At 8:47 a.m., my phone rings. It's Mike from next door. "Hey man, how are you holding up?" "I've been better," I admit. "Karen's probably got the whole neighborhood updated by now." Actually, she's being surprisingly discreet. I think even she was shocked by how far things went last night. That's saying something. Karen Mitchell has never met a piece of gossip she couldn't improve with creative embellishment. "Where's Samantha?" Mike asks. "No idea. She wasn't here when I woke up." "Jesus, Ethan, I'm sorry. I had no idea things were that bad between you two." "Neither did I, apparently." There's a pause. Then Mike says, "For what it's worth, you handled that whole situation with more class than most men would have. Lisa was right to call Samantha out on her behavior." Lisa. I keep thinking about the way she stood up for me last night, the way she refused to let Samantha's cruelty go unchallenged. We've been neighbors for 2 years, but I'm realizing I never really saw her before. Not clearly. "I should probably call a lawyer," I say. "Yeah, probably. But maybe give it a day or two? Let the dust settle?" The dust settled the moment Samantha threatened to dump me in front of 20 people. Everything else is just paperwork. After Mike hangs up, I sit in the silence of my house and try to figure out what I'm feeling. Angry, hurt, relieved, it's probably all three, mixed together into something I don't have a name for. My phone buzzes with another text from Samantha. "We need to talk. This is fixable." I delete it without responding. At 10:30, there's a knock on my front door. Through the peephole, I see Lisa holding a coffee cup and what looks like a bag of pastries. "Peace offering," she says when I open the door. "I brought breakfast and caffeine." She's wearing jeans and a simple blue sweater, her hair pulled back in a ponytail. No makeup, no pretense. She looks more beautiful than Samantha did in her expensive red dress last night. "You don't have to take care of me," I tell her, but I step aside to let her in. "I'm not taking care of you. I'm being a good neighbor. There's a difference." She sets the pastries on my kitchen counter and looks around the house like she's seeing it for the first time. "This place always seemed so perfect from the outside," she says, "like a magazine photo." Samantha has strong opinions about interior design. "And you, what are your opinions?" I look around the living room with its carefully coordinated colors and expensive furniture that we can't really afford. I like things that are comfortable and functional. Samantha likes things that impress other people. That explains a lot about last night. Lisa pours herself coffee from my machine and settles onto one of our bar stools. She moves through my kitchen like she belongs here, which is strange because Samantha always made our house feel like a museum where I was a clumsy visitor. "Can I ask you something?" I say. "Shoot." "Those text messages you showed Samantha. Did Blake's wife really send them to you?" Lisa takes a sip of coffee and considers her answer carefully. "She sent them to several people. Wives of Blake's co-workers mostly. She wanted to make sure everyone knew what kind of man she was divorcing." "But why did she send them to you? You don't work with Blake." "No, but I live 3 houses down from his affair partner's husband. She thought I might be able to help." "Help? How?" Lisa meets my eyes directly. "Help you see what was happening before it destroyed you completely." The honesty in her voice catches me off guard. "How long have you known?" "About Blake and Samantha? I started putting it together about 3 months ago. The way she acted when he picked her up for those late work meetings. The way she dressed on days when she knew he'd be around. The way she talked about you when he was listening." "She talked about me?" "Complained about you. Loudly. Usually when you weren't around to defend yourself." That stings more than I expected. "What kind of complaints?" "The same ones she aired last night. You're boring. You lack ambition. You're not exciting enough for her. It was cruel, Ethan, and it was calculated." I think about all the times Samantha criticized me in front of our friends, all the little cuts disguised as jokes. I thought she was just being thoughtless. I didn't realize she was building a case for why she deserved better. "Why didn't you say something sooner?" Lisa sets down her coffee cup and looks at me seriously. Because it wasn't my place, and because I wasn't sure you'd believe me. Samantha is very good at making people think her version of reality is the only one that matters. But last night was different. Last night she crossed a line, threatening to dump you in front of everyone, humiliating you at your own party. That wasn't just cruel, it was abusive. The word hangs between us like a challenge. Abusive. I've never thought of my marriage in those terms, but sitting here in the morning light, I can see the pattern Lisa is describing. The constant criticism, the public humiliation, the way Samantha made me feel like I was lucky she tolerated me. I should have stood up for myself years ago, I say. Maybe, but you're standing up for yourself now. That's what matters. My phone buzzes again. Another text from Samantha. This time I read it. Blake means nothing to me. You're my husband. Come to Terry's house so we can talk privately. I show the message to Lisa, who reads it with a skeptical expression. She's at Terry's? Apparently. And she wants to meet privately so she can control the narrative. No witnesses to whatever story she's planning to tell you. You think she's planning to lie? I think she's planning to tell you whatever she thinks you need to hear to make this go away. The question is, what do you want? It's a simple question with a complicated answer. What do I want? 6 months ago, I would have said I wanted my marriage to work. I wanted Samantha to love me the way I loved her. I wanted us to be happy. But sitting here with Lisa, I'm starting to realize that what I thought was love might have been something else entirely. Habit, maybe. Or fear of being alone. Or just the stubborn belief that if I tried hard enough, I could make Samantha see my worth. I want to understand what happened. I say finally. I want to know when my wife decided I wasn't enough for her. And then what? Then I want to figure out what comes next. Lisa nods like this is the answer she was hoping for. Do you want some advice? From someone who's been through a divorce? Absolutely. Don't meet her at Terry's house. If you're going to have this conversation, have it on neutral ground. Or better yet, have it through lawyers. That seems extreme. Ethan, your wife publicly humiliated you, admitted to an affair, and threatened to leave you in front of 20 people. Then she disappeared for the night without telling you where she was going. Extreme is exactly what this situation calls for. She's right, but there's a part of me that still wants to believe this can be fixed. 3 years of marriage doesn't disappear overnight, even when that marriage was built on a foundation that turned out to be quicksand. I need to think about this, I say. Of course you do. But while you're thinking, maybe consider what you want your life to look like going forward. Not what Samantha wants, or what you think you're supposed to want. What you actually want. After Lisa leaves, I spend the rest of the morning cleaning up from the party and thinking about her question. What do I want my life to look like? I want to come home to someone who's happy to see me. I want to have conversations that don't feel like negotiations. I want to be with someone who thinks my engineering jokes are endearing instead of embarrassing. I want to feel like I'm enough, exactly as I am. None of those things describe my marriage to Samantha. At 2 p.m., I call the law office of Patricia Rayner, a divorce attorney Mike recommended. Her secretary schedules me for an appointment Monday morning. Then I text Samantha. I'll meet you at Terry's house at 6 p.m. We'll talk. Her response comes immediately. Thank you. I love you. I stare at those 3 words for a long time before deleting the message. Terry's house is a mirror image of ours. Same floor plan, same granite countertops, same suburban perfection. But where our house feels like a showroom, Terry's feels lived in. There are family photos on the refrigerator, kids' artwork taped to the walls, and the comfortable clutter of a home where people actually relax. Samantha is sitting at the kitchen table when I arrive, her hands wrapped around a coffee mug like it's an anchor. She's changed out of last night's red dress into jeans and a sweater, and without her party makeup, she looks younger and more vulnerable. Thank you for coming, she says quietly. Terry hovers in the doorway, clearly uncomfortable with her role as neutral territory. I'll be upstairs if you need anything, she says, then disappears, leaving us alone with 3 years of marriage and 1 night of truth-telling between us. So, I say, taking the seat across from Samantha, here we are. Ethan, about last night. Which part? The part where you threatened to dump me in front of our friends, or the part where everyone found out about your affair? She flinches like I've slapped her. It's not an affair. What would you call it? It's complicated. Blake's wife didn't think it was complicated. She thought it was simple enough to document with a private investigator. Samantha's composure cracks slightly. You don't understand what it's been like for me. Then explain it. She takes a shaky breath and looks out Terry's kitchen window at the identical houses lining our street. I feel invisible in our marriage, Ethan, like I'm just going through the motions of being a wife without actually living. So you decided to live with Blake instead? It's not like that. Blake makes me feel important, valued, like I'm more than just someone's wife. You are more than someone's wife. You're a person with your own career, your own interests, your own life. I never tried to take that away from you. But you never encouraged it either. When was the last time you asked me about my work? Really asked, not just polite conversation over dinner. The question catches me off guard because I can't immediately answer it. When did I stop asking Samantha about her day? When did our conversations become purely logistical? Bills, schedules, household maintenance. I thought you didn't want to talk about work when you came home, I say weakly. I didn't want to talk about your work. There's a difference. It's a fair point, and it stings because it's true. I've spent 3 years assuming Samantha found my engineering projects as boring as she said they were, but I never considered that she might want me to show the same interest in her HR career. Okay, I say, that's on me, but that doesn't justify Blake. No, it doesn't. She finally meets my eyes. But it explains why I was vulnerable to his attention. How long has it been going on? 6 months? Maybe 7? Since the company retreat in Denver? She nods, looking ashamed for the first time since this conversation started. The retreat where you called me every night to tell me how boring the conference sessions were? I was overcompensating. I felt guilty. Not guilty enough to stop. No, not guilty enough to stop. At least she's being honest now. I can work with honesty, even when it hurts. Do you love him? I ask. The question hangs between us for a long moment. Samantha stares into her coffee like it might contain the answer she's looking for. I thought I did, she says finally. But after last night, after seeing how quickly he was willing to let me face the consequences alone, I don't know anymore. And do you love me? This time, the pause is even longer. I love the idea of you, she says quietly. I love the security you represent, the stability, the life we've built together, but I don't know if I love you the way a wife should love her husband. It's the most honest thing she's said to me in years, and it's devastating. But there's also something liberating about finally hearing the truth instead of the careful lies we've been telling each other. When did you stop loving me? I ask. I don't think I ever started. Not really. I loved being married to you, but that's not the same thing. The words hit like a physical blow, but they also explain everything. The constant criticism, the public humiliation, the way she always seemed to be performing the role of wife rather than actually being one. Why did you marry me? Because you were safe. Because you adored me. Because I thought that would be enough. And when you realized it wasn't? I tried to make it work. I really did. But then Blake started paying attention to me, and I remembered what it felt like to be desired instead of just tolerated. I never just tolerated you, Samantha. I loved you. I still love you. I know, and that makes this so much harder. Terry's kitchen clock ticks loudly in the silence that follows. Outside, I can hear kids playing in someone's backyard, their laughter a sharp contrast to the funeral atmosphere in this room. "So what do you want?" I ask finally. "I want to fix this. I want us to go to counseling and figure out how to be better for each other." "And Blake?" "Blake is over. It was a mistake, and I'm ending it." "Because you want to, or because you got caught?" She doesn't answer immediately, which is answer enough. "Samantha, I can't be in a marriage where my wife is constantly looking for something better. I can't live with someone who sees me as a consolation prize. That's not how I see you. Isn't it? Last night you told 20 people that I'm boring and predictable and that you could dump me without a second thought. That sounds like consolation prize territory to me." I was drunk and angry and humiliated. I said things I didn't mean. "Or you said things you've been thinking for years, but never had the courage to say sober." She starts crying then, quiet tears that streak down her cheeks and drip onto Terry's kitchen table. "I don't want to lose you," she says. "You already lost me. Last night, when you chose your pride over our marriage. It doesn't have to be over. We can fix this." I look at this woman I've shared a bed with for 3 years, this person I thought I knew completely, and I realize I don't know her at all. Or maybe I knew her perfectly, and I just refused to accept what I was seeing. "How?" I ask. "How do we fix the fact that you don't love me? How do we fix the fact that you've been lying to me for months? How do we fix the fact that our entire social circle now knows you think I'm worthless?" "I don't think you're worthless." "Then why did you work so hard to convince everyone else that I am?" She doesn't have an answer for that, which is answer enough. "I'm filing for divorce," I tell her. "Ethan, please." "I'm filing for divorce," I repeat. "You can contest it if you want, but we both know this marriage has been over for a long time. Last night just made it official." "What about the house?" "What about it?" "We have a mortgage, shared assets. This isn't as simple as just walking away." "I know. That's what lawyers are for." She wipes her eyes with the back of her hand, and for a moment she looks like the woman I fell in love with 4 years ago. But that woman was an illusion, and I can't keep living in a fantasy. "I never meant for it to happen like this," she says. "How did you mean for it to happen?" "I don't know. I thought maybe you'd fight for me. For us." "I did fight for us. For 3 years, I fought to make you happy. I changed everything about myself that you didn't like. I worked extra hours to pay for the house you wanted, the car you wanted, the lifestyle you wanted. I turned myself inside out, trying to be the man you needed. I never asked you to do that. You didn't have to ask. You just had to keep telling me I wasn't enough." I stand up from the table, suddenly exhausted by this conversation and everything it represents. "I'll have my lawyer contact you about the paperwork," I say. "Ethan, wait." I turn back to look at her one more time. "I'm sorry," she says. "For all of it. You deserved better than what I gave you." "Yeah," I agree. I did. As I walk out of Terry's house and back to my car, I feel something I haven't felt in years. Relief. The marriage is over, the pretense is finished, and for the first time in a long time, I don't have to wonder what Samantha really thinks of me. I already know. The divorce papers are filed on Monday morning. By Tuesday afternoon, Samantha has hired her own lawyer and declared war. "She's contesting everything," Patricia Rayner tells me during our second meeting. "The house, the cars, your retirement accounts, even your tools in the garage. She's claiming emotional abandonment and asking for alimony." Emotional abandonment? Apparently, you neglected her emotional needs, which drove her to seek comfort elsewhere. It's a common strategy when adultery is involved. Flip the script and make the cheating spouse the victim. I'm sitting in Patricia's downtown office, surrounded by law books and case files, trying to process how quickly my life has been turned into a legal battlefield. 3 days ago, I thought my biggest problem was a struggling marriage. Now I'm facing the possibility of losing everything I've worked for. What are our chances? Better than you might think. The text messages Blake's wife provided are pretty damning, and the fact that Samantha publicly threatened to leave you in front of witnesses doesn't support her abandonment claim. What about the house? That's more complicated. You're both on the mortgage, both on the deed. If she wants to fight for it, this could get expensive. Expensive. Everything about divorce is expensive. Lawyers, court fees, the cost of starting over. I'm already looking at apartment listings, trying to figure out how to downsize a life I spent 3 years building. My phone buzzes with a text from Mike. Samantha's been telling everyone you kicked her out without warning. Thought you should know. I show the message to Patricia, who nods grimly. Character assassination. Another common tactic. She's trying to control the narrative. What can I do about it? Document everything. Save every text, every email, every voicemail, and don't engage with her directly unless it's through your lawyer. When I get home that evening, there's a note taped to my front door. We need to talk. This is getting out of hand. I photograph the note and add it to the folder Patricia told me to keep. Then I crumple it up and throw it away. Lisa appears at my fence line as I'm checking the mail. How are you holding up? I've been better. Apparently, I'm now an emotionally abusive husband who abandoned his wife. According to who? According to Samantha's version of events. She's been making the rounds, telling everyone who'll listen that I threw her out without warning. Lisa's expression darkens. That's not what happened. No, but it's easier to believe than the truth. Samantha's always been good at playing the victim. What does your lawyer say? Document everything and don't engage. Standard divorce advice. Good advice, but hard to follow when someone's trashing your reputation. We stand there in comfortable silence, watching the sun set behind the identical houses that line our street. It's strange how normal everything looks when my entire life is falling apart. Can I ask you something? Lisa says. Sure. Do you regret it? Filing for divorce? I think about the question seriously. Do I regret it? 3 days ago, I was married to a woman who didn't love me, living in a house I couldn't afford, pretending to be happy for the sake of appearances. Now I'm facing an uncertain future, but at least it's honest. No, I say. I regret waiting so long to do it. Good, because it's going to get worse before it gets better. She's right. Over the next 2 weeks, Samantha's campaign to rewrite history goes into overdrive. She tells Terry that I was controlling and emotionally distant. She tells Karen that I threatened to kick her out if she didn't quit her job. She tells anyone who will listen that the party confrontation was me finally showing my true colors. The worst part is that some people believe her. Terry stops returning my calls. A few neighbors who used to wave when I got home from work now avoid eye contact. Samantha has always been charming and persuasive, and she's using those skills to paint me as the villain in our marriage. But not everyone is buying it. Mike and Karen invite me over for dinner and make it clear they're on my side. Lisa continues to be supportive without being pushy, and Blake's wife, Jennifer, calls me out of the blue with an offer I didn't expect. I have more evidence, she says during our coffee meeting at a neutral location downtown. Text messages, hotel receipts, photos. Things my lawyer didn't think were necessary for my divorce, but that might help with yours. Why would you help me? Because Samantha is telling people that Blake was the aggressor, that he pursued her relentlessly until she gave in. That's not what the evidence shows. She slides a manila envelope across the table. These are copies. The originals are in my lawyer's safe, but I thought you should see what your wife was really saying about you. I open the envelope with shaking hands. Inside are printouts of text messages between Samantha and Blake, dating back 8 months. The early messages are flirtatious but relatively innocent. But as the relationship progresses, the content becomes more explicit and more cruel. Blake: how was your weekend? Samantha: boring. Ethan wanted to stay home and watch documentaries. I swear he's 80 years old. Blake, you deserve better than that. Samantha, I know. Sometimes I think about what my life would be like if I'd married someone with actual ambition. Blake, someone like me? Samantha, someone exactly like you. The messages get progressively worse. Samantha complaining about my appearance, my career, my lack of excitement. Blake encouraging her dissatisfaction and positioning himself as the solution to all her problems. But the worst message is from 2 months ago. Samantha, Ethan asked if I wanted to renew our vows for our anniversary. Can you imagine? Like putting a bow on a broken gift. Blake, what did you tell him? Samantha, I told him I'd think about it. But honestly, I'm thinking about how to get out of this marriage without losing everything I've worked for. Blake, I could help with that. My lawyer handled my first divorce, very discreet. Samantha, let's talk about it this weekend. Your place. I close the folder, feeling sick. Jennifer watches me with sympathy. I'm sorry, she says. I know it's hard to read. She was planning this, the divorce, the narrative, all of it. For months. Blake thought he was seducing an unhappy wife, but Samantha was playing a longer game. What kind of game? The kind where she gets out of a marriage she doesn't want while keeping as much of your assets as possible. Blake was just the excuse she needed to make you the bad guy. I think about all the times Samantha criticized me in front of our friends, all the subtle ways she undermined my confidence and made me feel like I was lucky to have her. It wasn't thoughtless cruelty. It was strategic. Can I use these in court? My lawyer says yes. They establish a pattern of premeditation and show that the affair wasn't a moment of weakness, but a calculated decision. Thank you. I don't know how to repay you for this. You don't have to. Just make sure she doesn't get away with rewriting history. That night, I forward copies of the messages to Patricia, who calls me within an hour. This changes everything, she says. Samantha's claim of emotional abandonment just fell apart. These messages show she was actively planning to leave the marriage while pretending to work on it. What does that mean for the divorce? It means we're no longer playing defense. Tomorrow, I'm filing a motion to dismiss her alimony request and countersuing for legal fees. Can we do that? With evidence like this? Absolutely. Your wife wanted to play hardball, Ethan. Let's show her what hardball really looks like. For the first time since this nightmare started, I feel like I might actually win. 3 weeks into the divorce proceedings, Samantha makes her biggest mistake yet. She shows up at my house. I'm in the garage, working on a project that's been gathering dust since our marriage started falling apart. A custom bookshelf for the home office I never got to have because Samantha turned that room into a walk-in closet. The repetitive work of measuring, cutting, and sanding is therapeutic, a reminder that I can still build something good even when everything else is falling apart. It's 9 p.m. on a Thursday when I hear the garage door rattle. I assume it's the wind until I hear footsteps on the concrete floor. Ethan? I turn around to find Samantha standing in the doorway, backlit by the porch light. She's wearing the black dress she knows I like, used to like, and her hair is styled the way it was on our first date. She looks beautiful and desperate, which is a dangerous combination. What are you doing here, Samantha? We need to talk. Really talk. Without lawyers and legal strategies and all the bullshit that's gotten between us? There's nothing to talk about. My lawyer told you not to contact me directly. Your lawyer doesn't understand what we had together. She steps into the garage, and I catch a whiff of her perfume, the expensive one she wears when she wants something. It used to make my heart race. Now it just makes me wary. What we had is over, I tell her, setting down my sandpaper and facing her directly. You made that clear when you decided Blake was a better option. Blake was a mistake, a stupid, selfish mistake that I regret every day. You regret getting caught. There's a difference. No, I regret hurting you. I regret throwing away 3 years of marriage for someone who turned out to be a coward. Where is Blake these days? Gone. He transferred to the Denver office to get away from the scandal, left me to deal with the fallout alone. There's genuine pain in her voice, and for a moment I feel a flicker of the sympathy that kept me in this marriage for so long. But then I remember the text messages Jennifer showed me, the months of planning and manipulation, and the sympathy dies. "You're not alone," I point out. "You have Terry, your work friends, your family." "Terry won't return my calls. My work friends think I'm a homewrecker. And my family, well, they always liked you better anyway." She moves closer, and I can see tears gathering in her eyes. Real tears, not the calculated ones she used during our fights. "I've lost everything, Ethan. My job, my friends, my reputation. You're the only good thing left in my life. I'm not in your life anymore. But you could be. We could start over, do it right this time." "How?" "By pretending the last 8 months didn't happen? By ignoring the fact that you were planning to leave me while I was planning our anniversary?" Her face crumbles. "You know about the messages. I know about all of it. The hotel receipts, the lies, the way you talked about me to Blake. I know you weren't just having an affair. You were building a case for why you deserve to trade up. That's not... It wasn't like that. It was exactly like that. You spent months telling Blake how boring and pathetic I was, and now you want me to believe it was all a mistake." She reaches for my hand, but I step back. "Ethan, please. I know I hurt you, but we can fix this. I can be better." You can't fix 3 years of contempt with 3 weeks of regret. It wasn't contempt. I was just unhappy. And instead of talking to you about it, I talked to Blake. That was wrong, but it doesn't mean I don't love you. You told me 3 weeks ago that you never loved me, that you loved being married to me, but not me. Remember? I was angry and hurt and saying things I didn't mean. Or you were finally telling the truth. The garage falls silent except for the hum of the overhead fluorescent light. Samantha looks around at my tools, my workbench, the half-finished bookshelf that represents the life I'm trying to build without her. "Is this what you want?" she asks. "To be alone in this garage, building furniture for a house you'll probably have to sell anyway? It's better than being married to someone who thinks I'm a consolation prize. I never thought that. Didn't you? Every time you criticized me in front of our friends, every time you made jokes about my job or my hobbies or the way I dress, what was that if not you telling everyone I wasn't good enough for you? I was just venting. Everyone complains about their spouse sometimes. Not like that. Not the way you did it. You weren't venting. You were auditioning for sympathy from other men." She starts crying in earnest now, mascara streaking down her cheeks. "I don't know how to fix this." "You can't fix it. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Some things can't be repaired once they're broken." "So that's it? 3 years of marriage and you're just giving up?" "I'm not giving up. I'm accepting reality. You don't love me, Samantha. You might love the idea of being married, or the security I represent, or the life we built together. But you don't love me." "That's not true." "Prove it." "What?" "Prove you love me. Tell me one thing about me that you actually love. Not something I do for you or provide for you, but something about who I am as a person." She opens her mouth to answer, then closes it again. The silence stretches between us like a chasm. She starts, then stops. "You can't, can you? Because you don't see me as a person. You see me as a role, husband, provider, safe choice. But you don't see me. That's not fair. It's completely fair. I can tell you a dozen things I love about you. Your laugh when you're genuinely happy, the way you sing in the car when you think no one's listening, how passionate you get about causes you care about. But you can't name one thing you love about me that isn't about what I can do for you." She's sobbing now, and part of me wants to comfort her the way I always did during our fights. But I can't keep being her emotional safety net while she looks for someone better. "Please don't do this," she whispers. "Please don't give up on us." I'm not giving up on us. There is no us. There's you, and there's me, and there's a legal contract we signed 3 years ago that we're now dissolving. That's all this ever was. How can you say that? Because it's true, and because I'm tired of pretending otherwise. I walked to the garage door and hit the button to open it. I think you should leave now. Ethan. Leave, Samantha. Don't make this harder than it has to be. She stands there for another moment, looking lost and broken. Then she walks past me toward her car, pausing at the edge of the driveway. I really did love you, she says quietly. Maybe not the way you deserved, but I did love you. I know, I reply. That's what makes this so sad. After she drives away, I stand in my garage for a long time, surrounded by the tools and projects that represent the life I'm building for myself. It's not the life I planned 3 years ago, but it's honest. It's mine. And for the first time in years, that feels like enough. 2 months later, the divorce is final. Samantha gets half the value of the house, which forces me to sell it, but I keep my retirement accounts and avoid paying alimony. She moves back to her hometown in Ohio, taking a job with her uncle's company. We don't speak again. I rent a small apartment across town and finish building the bookshelf. It's not perfect. There are a few crooked joints and some rough edges, but it's solid and functional and exactly what I need. Lisa helps me move into the new place, bringing coffee and sandwiches while I arrange furniture and hang pictures. We've been dating for 6 weeks now, taking things slowly, learning to trust again. It's nice, she says, looking around my living room. It feels like you. What does that mean? Comfortable. Real. Like a place where someone actually lives instead of just performs living. She's right. My apartment is smaller than the house I shared with Samantha, and the furniture is mostly secondhand, but it feels like home in a way that house never did. Any regrets? Lisa asks. I think about the question seriously. Do I regret the 3 years I spent trying to make Samantha happy? Do I regret the money I lost in the divorce, or the friends who chose her side, or the reputation I had to rebuild? No, I say finally. I regret that it took me so long to see what was really happening, but I don't regret ending it. Good, because you deserve to be happy, Ethan. You deserve to be with someone who sees your worth. So do you. She smiles and kisses me gently. I think we're going to be just fine. 6 months later, I get a text from Mike. Samantha's engaged to some guy from Ohio. Thought you should know. I delete the message without feeling anything at all. My past is my past, and my future is whatever I choose to make it. That evening, Lisa and I have dinner at a small Italian restaurant downtown. Nothing fancy, nothing designed to impress anyone, just good food and easy conversation with someone who laughs at my engineering jokes and thinks my hobbies are interesting instead of boring. As we're walking back to the car, she takes my hand and says, I love you. It's the first time either of us has said it, and the words hang in the evening air like a promise. I love you too, I reply, and I mean it completely. When we get back to my apartment, I show her the latest project I've been working on, a dining table built from reclaimed wood designed to seat 4 people comfortably. It's almost finished, just a few more coats of stain and some final sanding. It's beautiful, Lisa says, running her hand along the smooth surface. Who's it for? Us, I say. I thought maybe it was time to start building something that would last. She smiles, and I can see our future reflected in her eyes. Simple, honest, real. Not perfect, but true. And that's exactly what I want.